Welcome back to the Big Fella Podcast. I'm your host, Noah Tanner, and today we are going to be talking about some of the best tips and how to get started in running as a bigger guy. What qualifies a bigger guy? I'd say any guy north of 200 pounds. Most of the people I work with are guys in their 20s, 30s, and 40s that range between 250 and 350 pounds. This is that video. If you don't know who I am, my name is Noah Tanner. I've lost 110 pounds, kept it off for 4 years. Running was a huge part of that journey. And I've been getting a lot of questions recently from a lot of big guys and a lot of new follows of people wanting to get into running. And they don't know where to start. And they don't know how to do it as a bigger person. So that's what this video is going to be. Today we're going to go over my running journey and how I kind of came across this as somebody who used to be 300 pounds and felt 300 pounds and looked 300 pounds. How to hack your brain into enjoying it, and the benefits of running. And also towards the end, we're going to do a little bit of kind of a breakdown of a beginner-friendly program. So if you're looking for actionable advice on what I would recommend, stick to the end of this video, because I will be going through some of my best tactics to start a running journey for someone who is a little bit heavier, whether you are in the middle of a weight loss journey, you haven't started losing weight at all. Maybe you're one of my clients and you're down like 50, 60 pounds, whatever. This video is for you. So let's get into it. First, I would like to start a little bit with my running journey. Also, one quick sidebar. If you haven't noticed, I'm recording this video back to back. I'm probably going to post both of these episodes at the same time. I'm just so excited to be back posting to YouTube again. It's kind of ridiculous. And I missed long form content. Ooh, I missed it. So we're recording these episodes back to back compared to the last one. If you haven't checked the last one, talking about overthinking and overcoming overthinking. So if you haven't went and seen that one, go check it out. So where did my running journey begin as a heavy person? So whether you know the story or not, I lost my weight during COVID, during 2020. First couple months, I was just playing video games every day. I finished my college semester online like everybody did. And then I had all the time in the world to do whatever I wanted. And I'm like, okay, it's time to lose weight, because if I can't do it now, when am I going to be able to? And long story short, I didn't really know what I was doing at the time. And I made a whole bunch of mistakes. And one of those mistakes was a bunch of over exercising. At first, I just started giving myself, okay, I'm going to run every day. And then I'm going to walk and run every day. And then I'm going to walk, run, and ride my bike every day. And then I'm going to walk, run, ride my bike, swim, and lift every day. I was just sitting at home collecting unemployment because the whole world was shut down. This is like peak COVID. So this is like summer of 2020 that this happened. And my first ever timed mile was a 11:57. It was almost 12 minutes. I had to stop twice to breathe, I remember. And so running eventually got easier. I started with half miles, and then me and my neighbor lived on a pretty easy circle. It was about a quarter mile. It was like almost the length of a football field track that goes around a football field. So what I would do is just 4 laps around that equals a mile. I started with 2 laps around it, and then I progressed to 4 laps around it, and then I would walk as a cool down and a warm up. And shout out Marcus, my neighbor, because he would do a lot of these with me during that summer. And every morning at 9 a.m., that's what I did. Tried to get a little bit faster, and it was just part of my regimen, part of my routine. I had nothing else going on. I had no distractions, and that was what I did to pass the time during COVID. Then after I lost all the weight and did a whole bunch of really chronic over dieting, I had a couple health scares at the hospital, fainted a whole bunch because I was severely under eating and malnourished, basically. Long story short, I got low blood pressure. I fainted a bunch, tore my ACL, had to go to surgery. So obviously couldn't really run or do anything like that during that entire process. So that was 2021. I try to tell people I fought off a bear and saved a bunch of babies from a burning building, but I got up and walked to the bathroom to go to the bathroom and fainted on the way to it, and woke up and I was like, oh, my knee hurts. So pretty lame way to tear your ACL, unfortunately. So I ended up losing 110 pounds by the end of the year. Then shortly after that, had to get my ACL surgery the following year. Out of commission. Can't run, can't jump, can't play basketball for about 9 months. And so wasn't running, was only lifting. And I got really into lifting for the next 2 to 3 years. And then at the tail end of 24, 2024, I started getting back into it a little bit. I started getting back into jogging and running a couple miles here and there. I'd always stayed in decent enough cardiovascular shape because I played basketball every week. If you're a client, you hear me talk about it all the time. Today's Tuesday, by the way, so it's basketball day, mofos. So tonight, when I'm done working, I'm going to go play some basketball. Very excited for that. But dedicated distance running, I wasn't really doing until the end of last year, until one of my friends convinced us to sign up for a 5K or a 10K because she was kind of on a fitness journey and she really enjoyed running. And I was like, sure, let's do it. So then 2025, I've completed multiple 10Ks. I've done multiple half marathons, and I am running 10 miles a week now. So for the last 3 months, my last race was a 10K with my friends sometime in June, I believe, June or July, which was just kind of a thing to do for fun. I did a half marathon in May. That's 13.1 miles. At the time, that was the furthest I'd ever ran. It's still right about there, about the furthest I'd ever ran. And as a bigger guy who, as somebody who was used to not ever running, it felt really weird to be doing things like that, but it was awesome. It was awesome. And so for the past 3 months, to not only help me maintain a good weight, but maintain overall health and conditioning, I just said, I am not going to train or sign up for another race for a while, but I am going to run 10 miles a week as a bare minimum. So if you're looking to track your runs, I would highly recommend going on to Strava and using Strava. It's a free app. That's what I use to track my distance on my mileage for the week. And yeah, you can friend me on there and we'll have a good time. So that's what I've been doing as far as my running training. And I'm going to start intensely training next year for a marathon. There's a marathon about a year from today, or a year from right now. I'm recording this September 30th, 2025. There is a marathon in October of 2026 that me and my friends are looking at doing. So I'll have next year to get really into marathon training. But for now, just to maintain my cardiovascular levels, I'm going to do about 10 miles a week. I've been able to maintain a good weight, eat a lot more food, still lift multiple times a week. Right now, I'm lifting about 3 to 4 times a week and running about 3 to 4 times a week, 3 times a week probably. So that's kind of what my running journey has looked like. This is the year that I definitely fell in love with it, and it is some of the best therapy that you can ask for. True runners run without any headphones. There's nothing against, nothing bad, nothing wrong about running with headphones, but if you're going for a long distance, there's something so very therapeutic about going for a run with no headphones on. It is awesome. It actually feels incredible. So if you haven't done that, I would highly recommend it. So let's now talk about what you can do to get yourself into running, holding yourself accountable, making it easier on you to start. Now that we've kind of talked about my journey, and then we'll give you a bit of a program to follow. Before I go any further, though, for those of you that are new here or haven't checked it out yet, in the description, I have a 31-day free email course. It says 25-day, but it's actually 31 because I added 6 extra days. Free email course going over all of the secret sauce and all of the tips for a bigger guy to start and sustain a healthy fat loss journey. I go over what to eat, how to train, how often to train, all of the specific questions that I got. I threw that into the answers in that email course. The people who have been receiving it are loving it. It's free to sign up. It's completely free to receive every single email. I couldn't recommend it enough. And if you want more sauce like this, go check that out. Now, let's talk about external accountability. External accountability is what you are going to need at the beginning of a journey. I'm a coach. I help coach big guys through a weight loss journey for a living. About 70% of my clients are men. Most of them are bigger guys in their 20s, 30s, and 40s looking to lose 50 plus pounds. And recently, because they've been seeing me do so much running, they've asked to get into running more and more. A lot of clients have. I've got a client, Matt, who's getting into it. Client Ben getting into it. Almost said his last name. I got multiple guys getting into it right now. Angela's getting into it. Some of my female clients are really enjoying it, and they're not people that really ran before this, before they started joining my program. And it was honestly something that most of them didn't even think about doing. They just saw me doing it a lot, and they're like, hey, I want to get into this. Well, I want to try it. So it's really cool to see see myself have that impact on some of my clients and some of my friends. So external accountability is something that you're always going to need at the beginning of a journey. You don't necessarily need it as a straightforward requirement, but it is something that you're going to need to maintain any level of consistency long term. Now, it's not a literal requirement for everyone, but it's going to make life so much easier, and the failure rate is so much higher when you try to do it yourself. So with that being said, what does external accountability look like? It means outside sources of help. It means outside sources of accountability that aren't coming from you. So you're not fully self-motivating. So sometimes this looks like a coach, sometimes this looks like friends, sometimes it looks like signing up for races. So what really kickstarted me getting serious into my journey with running is having races signed up with my friends and going on runs with my friends. I knew I had to kick my butt into gear once it started getting a little warmer out come March this year, because I had a race in 2 months. I had a half marathon in 2 months. And I'm like, holy crap, I'm out of shape. This is going to suck. I remember very vividly running one time in March or February. I had to wear like this hoodie, super heavy hoodie, a balaclava, a hat, a winter hat. Like, it was freezing outside. I ran like a mile, and boy, oh boy, did I feel like a fat, slow slob. But we got it in. And so you are going to need some sort of external accountability, whether that's a program to follow, whether that's a friend to run with you, whether that's a race you want to sign up for. Almost anyone can do a 5K, by the way. 5Ks are very easy. There's only 3.1 miles, and you can walk if you want parts of it. So I would recommend, if you were looking to really push yourself into it, try a 5K. It's actually a really great feeling to sign up for something like that. The running community is very welcoming, which is one of the coolest things that I've definitely experienced. Also, run clubs. If you live in a bigger city, there are run clubs around. Now, sometimes run clubs move really fast. Other times run clubs move more calmly. I've had one run club experience so far. They're excellent. They're really awesome people. They're just a little bit further away from my house than I'd like, and they start at a time that usually isn't the best for me, so I can't make it all the time. Bottom line, having some sort of external accountability is one of the best things you can do to guarantee your consistency at the start. Because then once you get through the beginner phase of, oh my God, this sucks, once you can stay consistent for a handful of weeks at a time, then you're going to get to the point where you're like, okay, I know what I'm doing, and I'm actually starting to enjoy this. No one really enjoys it at the beginning when they feel like they're a beginner. The feeling of being a beginner sucks. But that's something you have to drop your ego and accept, that you are going to be a beginner no matter what, especially if you're a bigger dude, because this is not your element. We weren't running track in high school. I was throwing shot and disc, right? My friends were offensive linemen, right? Most of my clients played football, and they were bigger dudes their whole lives, and they hated the sprints and they hated the distance running in practice. So this is not our element. Walk in with a beginner's mindset and be ready to learn. It's one of the biggest tips I could give you. So let's talk about, what is this program for you to follow if you are now just trying to get into running and you want to have a little bit more structure? So here's what I'll break it down from the top. I recommend, for someone getting into running that is 200 to 300 pounds, 2 to 3 interval runs per week. So an interval run is breaking down a run into intervals of walking and running. Pretty straightforward. I usually recommend about 2-minute intervals is easiest. So 2 minutes of jogging, 2 minutes of walking, 2 minutes of jogging, 2 minutes of walking, repeated. This is going to drastically increase your endurance. It's going to make it a much lower barrier to entry, and it's going to make you feel like you can actually handle it, because you will be able to handle it. Of those 2 to 3 runs, if you go for 3 runs, what I recommend is 2 easy runs. So mile, do a mile interval run twice a week, right? And then 1 challenging run. And this is something you can hold off on after you do it a few times. If that's something you don't feel comfortable with now, fine. Build the consistency first. But 1 challenging run really just means anything to push the pace past what you're used to on your easy runs, right? So whether that means going a little bit of a further distance, going 2 miles or 3 miles, whether that means going for a little bit of a faster speed, right? Using your wearables, you can track your mile pace. Whether that means shortening the walking intervals a little bit and lengthening the running intervals. These are all easy ways to push the pace a little bit. It's really nice to get newbie gains. Like, if most of you watching this may be going to the gym, you know what it's like to experience newbie gains. Your first year in the gym is amazing because you feel like an Adonis because you get extra gains when you're young and when you're first starting out in the gym. Your body responds to it a lot faster. So taking advantage of that is paramount. And it also feels really good because it feels like you're crushing PRs left, right, and center. And the same thing is with running. You can always go a little bit further. You can always go a little bit faster. You can always shrink the intervals. There's a lot of opportunity for progression. Lean into that. Have fun with it. Use it as a positive and not a negative. Another one. Run laughably slow. If I had my runner's hat on, you would see it says slow is smooth, smooth is fast. Available in the Big Fella shop, by the way. Link in bio or description. You'll see running laughably slow is the secret sauce. Run however you think you're faster, go a little slower than that. It could be glorified speed walking. That's fine. You're already going faster than everybody that stayed at home. You're already going faster than the version of you that didn't go out at all. So don't hold any sort of judgment against yourself for going slow because your previous speed was 0 miles per hour. Excuse chocolate tripping over her food bowl. It's empty. She ate it already. Oh, goodness, girl. So run laughably slow. I literally say laughably slow. Now, this could also be described as zone 2 cardio, which is a very slow pace run. It's actually been proven to help your body use fat as fuel and been proven to help you with overall endurance. It's one of the best things you can do for not only your endurance, but also for your speed. Now, let's talk about some other smaller details that really, really help bigger guys specifically. Buy a new pair of running shoes. I would highly recommend getting a new pair of running shoes when you get started because some extra cushion on your feet is going to be paramount. It's going to make a pretty massive difference for limiting the impact on your joints and allowing you to be able to show up on a regular basis without worrying about it. New shoes, I recommend what brand of shoes? Don't overthink it. If it's running shoes, it's running shoes. But I would recommend Brooks. Those are the ones I use. Asics are really, really good. I've heard good things about Sauconys. Nike shoes are always solid for running. Don't overthink it. Just get yourself a nice solid pair with good cushioning that's new, that's not as super worn down. That's going to help your knees a lot. And just your joints in general. It's not just your knees, but big guys just automatically usually have knee problems because we're so gosh darn top heavy. Okay. Now, and I want to say this too. I'm 225. I'm not 310 pounds anymore. I dropped down to 199, bulked back up to 225. I could still afford to lose probably of another 5 to 10 pounds, but I'm at a current body weight right now where compared to the rest of my friends, I'm the heaviest one running. I'm also the tallest by a pretty significant margin. I'm 6'4". Most of my friends are like right around 6 foot for my guy friends. But I'm not light for runners. So a lot of this advice, I am following my own advice here. I'm not 160. I'm 6'4", 225. And I'll fluctuate 5 or 10 pounds north or south from that. So these are tips that I am actively taking in. Like I am buying new shoes. I am using new shoes. I am focusing on zone 2 slow running a lot of the time. So don't think that this is just general advice. This is advice that I have used. It has helped me tremendously. Stretching. Always get loose before a run. Static stretching is something you got to be careful with. I would always recommend dynamic stretching. So opening up your legs, doing wheelbarrow stretches, different sorts of leg kicks, butt kicks, high knees. Look up a good video tutorial for stretching. Just get yourself loose. Walk for a little bit before you actually start the run. Get your body loose, get the blood flowing. I could not recommend that enough. It really does make a pretty huge difference. Also, as an actual exercise to do in the gym to make you better at running, tibialis raises are incredible. Tibialis raises require no equipment. It's very easy. I just posted a video about how to do them on my TikTok. Google it, YouTube it. Knees over toes guy on YouTube is the one that showed me this, and it is one of the best things that has helped me prevent any sort of knee pain or knee injury. I actually just talked about this on a client call. Shout out Carter, because he was the one I was telling him this to. Tibialis raises are fantastic because what it's doing is it's growing and building the muscle that runs down the front of your shin, which is usually one of the most undeveloped muscles when it comes to the four muscles that really attach to your knee. If you think about it as top and bottom of your leg, right? You have the top of your leg according to your knee, right? You have your quads in the front, you got your hamstrings in the back. And then you have your lower leg below the knee, you have your calf in the back, and then you have your tibialis raise in the front, your tibialis in the front. It runs along your tibia, right? We know how to do quads in the gym. Most of us know how to do hamstrings in the gym. Most of us know to do calves in the gym. Nobody hears about the tibialis. Even if you aren't lifting specifically, you should be doing this regardless. You can do this at home. It requires no equipment. You just put your butt up against a wall and lift your toes to the sky. Again, please watch a video tutorial. You'll understand exactly what I mean. But that will drastically improve your ability to absorb that impact without any actual pain, okay? Finally, balancing fat loss in the gym. So if you want to go and get consistent with running, I would highly recommend doing, I don't think you should be cutting lifting out for the sake of running. I think you should be doing both. I think you should do 3 days of lifting and then 2 to 3 days of running. I think that's very manageable for most people, especially considering if those runs are only about a mile and they're interval runs. It's a great place to get started. One thing I would say is be more tactical about when and how you do your leg days. Be more protective of your joint health. You can still get a quality leg day in. You should still be strength training your legs. I would just say plan ahead, right? Maybe you don't do a leg day directly before or directly after a long run. Probably not a good idea. I did 10 miles with my buddy Logan on Saturday. If I scheduled in leg day on Sunday or Monday, not a good idea. So structure them accordingly. Luckily, the short runs especially, you could probably schedule those on back-to-back days with no issue. But always give yourself a little bit of space and always listen to yourself. If you need a little bit more rest, you need a little bit more rest. But don't get super. The consistency in establishing that consistency is really is really what matters more than anything. Even if you feel like you can't push the pace 1 week, still go out and show up and get the run in, right? Building that cardiovascular endurance is what this is all about. Last point I want to make here. You can build your cardiovascular endurance tremendously well despite ever losing any weight at all. Your cardiovascular system, just like any other system in your body, your digestive system, your circulatory system, is a system in your body that you can train, right? Your cardiovascular system is strengthening your heart effectively. Your heart is a muscle. Treat it like such. And running, any sort of cardio for that matter, is training your heart. So what we want to do here is we can reach new levels of distance. We can reach new speeds while still maintaining the same weight. You don't have to lose the weight in order to do it. Now, I will say running more often will help you lose the fat. And yes, carrying a lighter load, losing the fat on your body consistently, this coincides very nicely with an already existing fat loss journey. And that's what I do for my clients. That's what I recommend for everyone that I work with and everyone that follows me, is coincide it within a fat loss journey, right? Maybe you don't want to lose the weight, but you just want to get into running, sure, but it's going to be less stress on your joints and it's going to be easier to get faster and easier to get better as you lose the weight, but it's absolutely not a requirement. You can still drastically change your cardiovascular health without seeing, you don't have to wait till you're 50 pounds down. You can start now, okay? So that's everything I have for you today as beginners for getting into running. If you guys have any questions about this, drop them in the comments. I'd love to talk about them. You guys are really enjoying the running content, so I'm going to keep talking about it. If you have any other specific questions about running as a bigger guy, drop them in the comments below. If you are curious about what it's like to work with me directly as your coach, there is going to be a link to either an application form or to shoot me a message on Instagram, and I will talk to you more through that so we can see if I'm a good fit to help you. All right. I just recorded 2 back-to-back episodes. That means I just talked for an hour uninterrupted, basically. So I'm gonna stop talking, and I'm gonna get back to work. But if you want to check out all the goodies, free email course down below. Subscribe if you're new. Hit the bell. Like this video if you enjoyed it. Share it with a friend who's a bigger guy, because I think there's a lot of really valuable information in here. Thank you so much for listening. I love you to death. Keep it simple, big fella.